My favorite baseball story is 1979 World Series, Pittsburgh Pirates against Baltimore Orioles. I was a big Pittsburgh Pirates fan, loved Willie Stargell. I go down to Three River Stadium for Game 3. They lose. I go down to Game 4. They lose. So I decide that I'm not going to watch any more games. They come back from a 3-1 deficit and take the World Series.
I was on Little League, City Rec, and I knew nothing about baseball, and I was really horrible. And I always felt like I was just playing in the dark. I had no idea. And I was so bad that they told me I was shortstop. But what my job was to stand directly behind the second base player and not do anything.
My favorite baseball story of late, I guess, comes from, I think it was Bob Uecker's Hall of Fame induction speech. A little background, Bob Uecker was a mediocre to poor baseball player in his career, a .200 career hitter, which is bad. He made his fame on being a personality, Johnny Carson, TV shows, and then as a broadcaster. He was so good as a broadcaster, he made it into the Hall of Fame. When he was inducted in his Hall of Fame, they asked him his favorite story. His favorite story has to do with catching Bob Gibson in a particular game. Bob Gibson is one of the all-time greatest pitchers in the history of sport, and also one of the most intimidating, meaning he had no problem throwing at any batter's head. And every baseball player knew it, and there was a big fear factor with Bob Gibson. Bob Uecker is catching Bob Gibson on a day where Bob Gibson doesn't have his best stuff. He's getting lit up. No one is getting out. Runs are coming in, the bases are loaded. Bob Uecker calls time, starts walking out to the mound to talk to Bob Gibson. Bob Gibson takes 3 steps off the mound toward Bob Uecker and says, "What the do you want?" And Bob Uecker, scared out of his drawers, says, "No, I'm going out to see Curt Flood in center field. I just figured I'd stop by and see how you were doing on my way out there." And scene.
That's not even your story, Chris.
No, it's my favorite recent story. It's Bob Uecker's story.
No, but it's not your story. That's what the question was.
Does this have to be about me?